Hi, Kirk Johnson with Johnson Chiropractic and Acupuncture, and I have Sam with me today. And he came in as a patient about a year ago.
About a year ago today, actually, yeah.
Yeah, and he was having some gut pain and some other issues that he wanted to see, what could I do for him? And so I'll kind of let him explain kind of what he was going through and what we did.
Yeah, so for the most part, I just had a really bad, constant stomach pain that was just causing me to always, I couldn't stand up straight. I was always kind of guarding my stomach, and it was always getting more and more frequent, especially after meals. I would notice myself getting even more bloated and lots more pain and all of that. And so I started coming here about a year ago and was just like, what's going on? And you did your whole process with me, the whole nutrition panel, and found out, okay, you're really sensitive to, gluten, soy, dairy, MSG, sodium nitrates, some nuts, and there was probably a couple other things.
Yeah, a couple of random things.
Yeah, but they're gone now at this point.
He
started me up on a regimen consisting of a lot of, Thermodigest, which is a really good supplement to take to help introduce a lot more enzymes into your digestive system to help digest a lot of the things that might not be normally digested.
Sure.
Some probiotics, some hydrochloric acid tablet.
So betaine hydrochloride. So that helped bring stomach acidity up so you could digest those foods.
Right, because you said I was suffering from GERD, and what was it that you said that it does?
So a lot of times when you have reflux, everybody thinks you have too much acid, which isn't necessarily the case. I find it in most of my patients that have reflux symptoms is their stomach acid actually isn't acidic enough at rest. So when they eat the food, then the proton pumps try to push out a ton of acid, but they don't do it fast enough, so then the food passes through the stomach. Now you got a ton of acid in the stomach and no food there, so that's when you get the GERD. So we just had to raise your stomach acidity at rest so those pumps didn't turn on so hard, and then you were able to process the food properly. Stomach calms down after the food's gone instead of having too much acid in it at that point.
Yeah, and I found that once I started taking all of that, I noticed almost an immediate change, and I was like, oh, that's great. Well, what's the next step? And I kind of figured, okay, well, since I know a lot of the foods that are causing me a lot of these problems, I kind of eliminated them from my diet almost immediately.
Exactly.
And so switched to a very Paleolithic diet and just started consuming a lot more vegetables, higher starch fruit vegetables, like sweet potatoes and all that. Bought a spiralizer so I could do all that.
Zoodles.
Zucchini noodles,
man. Noodles.
The people are sleeping on it, and you gotta start using it because it's good.
We spiralize sweet potatoes.
Yeah,
and
you can almost.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's like sweet potato hash browns sometimes.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So Sam was a very receptive patient, which is so helpful because he went to a T what I recommended on my nutrition sheet, and he avoided those foods, took the supplements as directed, and he started to see improvements quickly. How long would you say it took before you're like, wow, I feel a lot better?
It was probably 2 days, honestly. Because the first day I was still, I took all the pills, right after I finished with the panel with you, I got home, took some of this stuff, and I was like, man, I'm a little skeptical. Next day I was like, all right, I'm kind of getting used to it. Yeah. And after a full day of doing that strictly, I went to bed, woke up the next day, started eating. I was like, wow, I don't feel sick.
That's perfect.
And that's great, especially because I'm a very active person.
Yeah.
All the inflammation that's caused from gluten, dairy, and all that stuff, all of that damage it does to the joints, that's almost eliminated, and I don't get sore anymore after I work out hard, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So when you have a little bit of gut dysbiosis, which is a bad bacterial concentration, and you have some what's kind of termed as irritable bowel or leaky gut syndrome, you have a lot of that inflammation. That inflammation doesn't stay in the GI tract, it kind of goes systemic or throughout your whole body, and that's when you get sore after workouts, joint pain. So when you clear up the stomach and the whole GI tract, your body actually functions amazingly.
Yeah, and that's all credit to you. I mean, for being able to help out with all that. I wouldn't have been able to make it through a lot of stuff. It helped tremendously. The food is so important. And it's so good.
Food is so good, and that's the hardest part. It's a lifestyle change.
Yeah,
right? You have to make that commitment because if you don't, you're never gonna get to the point where you're like, wow, I really feel good. Like you did. You did it really fast. you're also pretty young, so that helps.
That does help a little bit.
You know, so others might take a little longer, but usually we see within a month to 3 months, a patient like Sam is going to feel like a new person. Really.
Yep, completely.
Yeah.
You feel healthier, you feel better. You know, my asthma, like the problems I was having with my breathing and everything started to go down because I realized the more there's some. My allergist told me, he's like, yeah, if you have GERD, it actually releases. I think it's some kind of nitrogen compound into your lungs, which causes inflammation and can aggravate your asthma and cause you to have an asthma attack. And I was like, wow, I haven't had one of those in forever. Like, this is great.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So, you know, Sam is a great success story, and we have tons of these patients that come in and really get a lot of help. So I really want to thank Sam for going on video and letting me share this kind of with everybody so you kind of understand the process and can see how it can really help your health. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
Take
Thanks
care,
for everything. You too.
Sweet. Good. That one take.